Hey everybody, welcome back. And today I want to talk about loading in external content via AJAX. Now we have done a little bit of this before when we did the Slimbox series in previous podcasts. And at that time what we were doing is we were using MooTools and a secondary script called Slimbox. And we were loading in JPEGs in a portfolio externally. And they just loaded into the same page and were able to float on top of the content. Now what we're going to talk about today is doing the same thing, except we're going to actually be talking about bringing in HTML content rather than an image, and this gives us a little more flexibility, gives us a little more to do in terms of what's possible using asynchronous JavaScript and XML. So what we're going to do, let me show you the example first. We're going to break this down. This is going to be another multi-part series. But you can see what I've done here is I've set up just a simple little portfolio site. Okay, it just has my name at the top, and then I've got a simple tab navigation here with 4 links: bio, work, resume, and contact. And then what goes on below that is there's a div down here that we're going to take an external HTML file and load it right into our document right here. Okay, so if I click on resume, for instance, it loads in the resume. If I click on contact, it brings some contact info, bio, etc. Work, I've just got some thumbnails in here. You could include the MooTools script within this, but I don't want to confuse the issue too much. So for this particular example, we're just going to build this using some thumbnails. So you can see that I'm just bringing in HTML content. So it could be content that links to images. It can be, just text. It can be whatever. Okay, so how do we do this, and how is this executed? We are going to use MooTools to do this. Okay, and let's whip over to the MooTools site right now, and I'll show you how all this works. If you go to I gotta spell it right, mootools.net. Okay, and this brings up the MooTools framework homepage. So we're going to use this framework to extend our compatibility with what we can do with JavaScript here. So anyway, if you go clear over to the right side of this navigation here, you can click on demos. It's going to bring up the demos here. Now the reason I'm walking you through this is because there's a lot of cool demos here, and they don't make a lot of sense if you've never used MooTools before or don't know how to make it work. So hopefully I'm going to take you through an example here, and you can play with some of the other examples they've got in here and really get a grasp on MooTools. But if you look over on the left-hand side here under this heading called requests, okay, this is what MooTools, these are the different requests it supports, and there are 4 of them here. There's a basic request, an HTML request, a JSON request, JSON is another JavaScript framework this is compatible with, and then there's a form that you can deal with too on here. We're going to use the HTML request, the second one from the top here. So if you click on that, it's going to give us the little demo in the main screen here. And what it says is, it's got some header information. It says request.html is a subclass of request built for making XHR requests, which return HTML content. So basically all that means is when I click on this link, it makes a request for a document, and then it brings that document in and puts the results in this box down here. Okay, and this box is just a div tag. So right now it says result is waiting for the request to happen because I haven't done anything yet. So it's going to be event based. And so when I click this link, get HTML, it's going to, there it is, request was successful, and it dynamically loaded this HTML content right into our web page. We didn't go to a different page, we stayed on the same page. So this is going to be very useful in the example that we're going to do. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and download this. There's a button right here. I'm going to actually right click on this, or control click on the Mac, and let's say download linked file as, because I want to put it on the desktop, and that's fine. Let's say save. It's going to download the file, and over here on the desktop you can see it's put it, and it's actually zipped into a zip document. So let's double click on that to open it, and here's the folder, request.html. Let's go ahead and open that. Okay, now inside, let me explain what's going on here. Right off the bat, you can see it put the MooTools framework into the example, so mootools.js. Inside that, next to that, you have a folder, and this is where all the documents for this example live. Okay, you have a data.html, a demo.css, demo.js, and an index.html file. The index.html file is the master file that all this stuff is going to load into. Okay, the demo.js is the external scripts that are kind of supplement the mootools.js and specifically give you directions based on the MooTools framework on what to do. Okay, demo.css is just the styles for this demo that are reflected in the main HTML page. And then there's this last document, this first one up here, it says data.html. This is the data that's going to load into that specific div that we've set up to put the dynamic content. So let's go ahead right now. Let's open TextMate and have a look at these. I'm going to open first the index.html. Let's drag it down, put it on TextMate. Yes, I'm sure I want to open it. Okay. And let me just show you what's going on here basically. We have linked up the style sheet right here, and then we've linked up two scripts, the mootools.js and then the supplemental scripts, the demo.js, that are actually going to give the directions on what to do in this specific page. Now, the rest is just basic HTML content, and if you look down here, there is a href tag, or an ahref tag. Okay, here's our link tag for the make request, and this is get HTML. Now you can see here that there's no link in here. There's just a pound sign that's been left in there. Okay, because what we're not requesting a new page, because if I use just the a tag with an href attribute, it's going to go to a new web page. But what I want to do is I want to get some HTML content and bring it into my current page. So the way this is set up is it has an ID, and the ID says it's set to make request. Okay, so what the external script, which we'll look at in a second, is going to do is when that is clicked on, and that triggers the event to go get that HTML. And then what it's going to do is when it returns it to this bottom div down here that has an ID of result. And right now you can see it says waiting for the request to happen. Okay. Now real quick, let's go back into the Finder here, and let's look at the data.html. This is the content that gets loaded into our document. And as you can see, there's no head, there's no body tag, none of that. This is just HTML. And the way this is set up is in that main HTML document, the index that we're looking at. Okay, it already has the div set up. So what it's going to do is it's going to take all this content and just load it in. So we don't need the header tags, we don't need the HTML tags, we don't need the body tags, we don't need any of that formatting, because it's already set up in that first document. So what it's going to do is it's going to take this content and dynamically insert it into our page. Okay, and what I need to tell you first, we're going to split this out into several podcasts, and I'll show you how the script works. But the important thing that I need to tell you right now is that MooTools, and this is a little bit of a problem for developing, but MooTools does not support local file systems. Okay, let me show you what I mean by that. If I double click on index.html, and let's open it in the browser, you can see here's our request.html demo. Okay, now right now it's set up just like the demo was on the MooTools site. If I select, or if I click get HTML, and watch what happens in the result box, it says the request failed. Okay, now this is set up so you can tell if it's failing, so you can debug it or whatever. But I didn't realize this right off the bat the first time I downloaded this a while back, and I realized later MooTools doesn't tell you is they don't recognize just a local file system. So what that means is up here in the URL, you can see it says file : / and then the address of where this file lives. It's on my desktop. It doesn't recognize this file structure. Okay, so this must be on a server to work. Okay, so you can see that if let's open transmit here. Okay, here's my FTP application. If I take this request.html and upload it to the server, and it'll take a second, and now it's uploaded. Let's go over to the browser here, and I'll go ahead and type in the address, which I put on another server here, but you get the idea. Wait, no, sorry, it is on this server. imed2315.com/Forbes. And let's just go into the root directory, and this is going to load up eventually. Sorry, we're having slow internet day here. Okay, and you can see here it is, request.html. If I click on this, click on the request.html folder, and here's the example. Okay, now if I select get HTML, it is successful. Okay, so you need to understand that this only works on the server. Okay, so that's pretty important to know. So it's a little bit of a pain, but here's how we're going to do the example. What we're going to do is it's an easy process. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to show you how to set up just the basic framework. We'll go ahead and develop everything, put in our style sheets, and then the last thing we'll do is activate this script. And then that way we can put that on the server, and all of our work is done with the design, and then we can just get this to work, and I'm going to show you how that works in the next movie. So anyway, let's go on to the next podcast, and we'll get to work.